Hello, my friends. How are you? Hiker Dave NE here. Thank you so much for coming by. I really do appreciate it. Let's get right to it. I was going to open up the video and say, oh boy, this lockdown is driving me crazy. I think we all feel the same way about that. So I'm throwing my hat in the ring on the Paterson Gymlyn footage and what potentially happened in 1967, supposedly on October 20th. So there is so much stuff out there. MK Davis has done a lot of stuff that I've watched. Also, Woodbooger, Rick from Woodbooger Farm, he's done a whole bunch of stuff and was given permission by MK Davis to use some of his stuff on his own channel, which is awesome. I think it's fantastic. So this video has been in the making, or my research started a month ago. I wanted to make a video about this and give you guys my opinion and what I think is going on. So in the past month and a half, maybe, it might have been longer than a month and a half. So I've been not devoting days to this, but I devote my time. I'll watch this video and that video and listen to other people's theories on what happened that day. And again, MK Davis breaks down a bunch of video, some stills and stuff like that, and enhances this and has his theories on this and that and the blood pit and potentially, look, all kinds of stuff that could have potentially happened that day. I was unaware of something I learned recently, was that there was supposedly another massacre. This is something that I just kind of pulled up a couple weeks ago, that there was a Bluff Creek video or some stills, and then the Bluff Creek. You know, the players that are involved in this, on what had happened, MK Davis mentions potentially that there was 10 people there. Listen, if I'm wrong on this, don't come at me about it. I am in right now information overload on this entire subject, and I had to keep going back and watching earlier videos that were put out from 2006, like was when this first, I believe when this first came up. Again, please don't come at me on something I quote wrong or a wrong date or a wrong name. This is kind of some information I've compiled and come to realize that I still am not any more informed on what happened on that day or that month or that year or where the film was made. I'm more confused now than I was when I first started to research this. I guess Roger Paterson, Bob Green, hold on, there's names in there scattered all over the place. I'm sorry, John Green, Bob Titness, Bob Gimlin, Roger Paterson, and then there's some other names in here that all of these people were kind of involved. The pilot of the plane, there was a dog there. Some say that people are getting confused on some of the pictures or film was taken at Bluff Creek, and some people confuse it and think that this was Bluff Creek. I'm going to say right now, my opinion, right? We're never going to know. We will not know. Bob Gimlin says that what happened on that day, he stuck to his story on what happened on that day, that infamous footage, that what he says happened is the way it happened, excuse me. And his story hasn't changed much, maybe, or maybe there's some inconsistencies and people catch that and stuff like that. Then there's a Rick from Woodbooger Farms is really on the shadows and the time of year. Why would they lie and say that it was October when some of the shadows would indicate maybe it wasn't, maybe it was more like July? So it's kind of weird once you lie about maybe something that should be kind of insignificant. Oh, maybe I made a mistake the time of year. Well, in something as controversial as this subject, I think it's important to get the the time of year correct, right? I mean, was it hunting season? Was it, I'm not, again, I have learned nothing more. I have a question of my own on this. And listen, I want to tell you guys too, before I go any further, I really don't know. As a matter of fact, I'm right in the middle of this. I don't fall either way on this. Do I believe that there could have been a massacre there, or there could have been some Bigfoot shot and killed and then a cover-up ensued? Without a doubt, that is a possibility. Is it possible that Roger Paterson and Bob Gimlin went out there to find a Bigfoot and they were able to catch one on film and crossed through a field, and that's it? That's the end of the story? Possibility, right? That's possible. I wasn't there and you weren't there, and the people that weren't there that day and can't say for sure what happened. And if the people that were there on this occasion, or on occasion, or at Blue Creek or Bluff Creek, whatever creek, that these people that were there, they're the only ones that know exactly what happened on this day. And I don't think we're ever going to know exactly what happened. Pardon me. So, I mean, so when MK Davis breaks down film and still photos and stuff, there's nothing wrong with that, you guys. If you question something, and you have what MK Davis, I believe, has a great ability to work with his computer and work in large photos and do color contrasts and whatever. I don't have that ability. I see the film of Patty and I just go, whoop, there it is, right? I mean, it's right there in front of you. I'm looking right at a female Sasquatch strolling through a field. The story behind that is what is the question. I'm not questioning the film. That is Bigfoot. That is I believe to be a female Sasquatch on that film. So what I keep coming back to is Bob Gimlin lying? If he is lying, why is he lying? So that's kind of simple. To me, it's simple. If he's lying, something happened that he feels the need to not tell the truth about. I have a question that I ask myself when it comes to this video, this Patty film. If Bob Gimlin and his buddy Mike were out there following tracks or looking specifically to catch Sasquatch on video, and they were able to do that, they were able to catch Patty on film, why, if there were others, say a creature was killed that day, say that this massacre happened, and there were a couple of Sasquatch killed that day, why, since their whole thought of going out there was to approve Sasquatch by getting it on film, why cover up what happened that day? And so that question I answered to myself. Again, my own thoughts, my own theory, that maybe the Sasquatch that were killed on that day, if this is what happened, that they realized maybe they made a mistake. Unless the powers that be were somehow there with them on that day, which Bob Gimlin and Mike Paterson claim it was just them. As far as I know, guys, I am now completely fogged up on what the information that I have gotten the past month and a week, month and a half, that I'm starting to get. I think I have information overload. But does that mean that with them were men in black that were there with them that day, and when they shot a couple Bigfoot and Patty's walking away and the cover up started instantly? Or was this something more along the lines of that they killed a couple Bigfoot, got Patty on film, the word got out really quick, and of course the government lands in a helicopter in a field a couple 100 yards away, and they scoop it under the rug? that is definitely, could be exactly what happened as well. But I can't help but ask myself that if they went out there for that reason to get footage, they had camera and all that, right? On horseback. They had proof then. They had proof. They had a Sasquatch, 1 or 2, 3 bodies of a Sasquatch. Again, I don't know the number. I think 2 was supposedly there was 3 of them scratching in the dirt, and a couple were shot. 1 got shot in the leg and ran away. They hunted it down and killed it, and there was a taxidermist there. And I mean, the stories are just. But I don't know. I do want to reiterate too. I'm in the middle on this, and when I fall one way or the other, I'll let you know. But there is not enough for me to just say, "Yep, this is a conspiracy within a conspiracy within a conspiracy," that there was a massacre here and it's being covered up, and then to the other side of that, just say, "Nope, it was just Mike Paterson and Bob Gimlin there, and they filmed that short film of Sasquatch, and Patty walked off into the tree line, and there you go, and that's what we are left with today." I could see both happening, right? And you know, all because I have a question about this or that, like Rick from Wood Booger Farms mentions about the shadows. He talks a lot about the time of year. I'm with you, Rick. I'm absolutely with you. I totally know what you're talking about as far as shadow length. It's different times of year, different times of day. Of course, it's different. But I'm with you. It's suspect. But again, I'm not going to jump into that camp. It's a rabbit hole and a rabbit hole and a rabbit hole. And I don't know if we find out that there was this massacre and where's the bodies? Were they burnt? I mean, were they skinned? Does someone have the hide of 2 Sasquatch or 3 Sasquatch or whatever somewhere? Or did they burn all the evidence? Or I guess it's interesting. Without a doubt, I find it interesting, the whole conversation, the whole concept, that there was a real serious, perhaps almost a murder of the Sasquatch, which is what I believe that really would be. In the eyes of the people that pulled the trigger, maybe they didn't feel that way, but I think what my opinion is that Sasquatch are very much related to humans. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. And again, I can have that opinion because it's only opinion. There's no fact or proof on this yet. But that's a whole nother animal as far as what their thoughts were on that day. Did they kill these Bigfoot and say, "Holy macaroni, we just killed, these things look human. We got to cover this up"? Or because now you throw in the logging part of it. They I believe, were trying to get to the bottom of why these people, these loggers out there were taking off and saying, "I ain't working around these huge creatures out here. See you later." And then they go in and they hunt some down and get rid of them in that area to bring the loggers back. That's also something to think about as well, that why this massacre happened and why it was covered up. There's so much information there that I can't piece it together. I can't make heads or tails of who's lying, who's not, who's covering what up, who's covering for who, who are agents of disinformation and who is not an agent of disinformation. Because we all know that in this field, this Sasquatch field, there are people that put out disinformation for reasons just to murky the waters, right? Just the more confusion you can bring to this subject, the more it holds down the truth. That is my opinion. So if you can kind of keep what the left hand is doing from the right hand, that really is best for people that don't want the truth to come out. Keep the bickering amongst the group, and nothing really gets done. Now, I admire the work that MK Davis has done on this, and it is important. I really do believe that it is important to get to the bottom of this story, because this is the most prolific, I don't even know if that's the right word. This is like the holy grail of Sasquatch footage. This is the footage that I personally will always revert back to when someone says, how come there's no video or pictures of Bigfoot? Bam. This is the video that I will always go back to and say, take a look at this. If you want to see a Bigfoot, you want to see what a Sasquatch looks like and walks like, take a look at this video clip. So it is very important to understand what went on that day. But it is by far, it is not the end all be all. If we don't know what happened that day, that doesn't change the fact that that footage is of a Sasquatch walking through that opening. It doesn't change that. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that the events that happened on that day at Bluff Creek, or that week, or that month, or whatever time all of this transpired, I'm not trying to say that it doesn't matter, because it does. I would love to know exactly what happened. And researching this the past 6 weeks or so, I have gained no more true knowledge of the events that happened there than I did before I started to look into this. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's important to focus a little on what we do know and what we can see. There's no question what I'm looking at, right? I can question what went on the days and weeks that followed what happened, or the days and weeks before what happened. I don't know if what happened there. The speculation is through the roof on what happened. But I'm going to keep my eye on the fact that is footage of a Sasquatch. Whew. Let me tell you, this has been a trip going through the theories on what happened at Bluff Creek and at Blue Creek, apparently, which I knew nothing about. That shows you how little I know about what's going on here. I don't want to say I don't want to know, but I think that my research time can be better spent. And this is just my opinion. I'm not knocking anybody else that dives down this separate rabbit hole. I don't mind others doing it, because then I can get their feedback and their perspective and their research, and I can take it in and do with it what I want to, right? And it's not a matter of believing someone else's belief. Like that's a tough pill to swallow, sort of like, it's, I could say, I believe it's cold out. And you could be a little more warm-blooded than me and say, it's not that cold out. Well, that's your belief, and I have my belief. And I know that that's neither here nor there, and I didn't mean to. I always try to put in some kind of analogy, and it never quite works out. Again, I do admire and appreciate MK Davis's work. I appreciate and admire Rick from Wood Booger Farms. He's done a lot of stuff on this too. And I say, continue. And if you can dig up more stuff, I want to know about it. Of course, I really do. But I don't want the cloudiness of it is, man, excuse me, I'm having a frosty cold beverage. Thank you to PayPal for all of your contributions. Thank you. I don't want to be clouded by more information. Like this whole subject is once you start, and I was warned right from the very beginning by, I'm not going to say her name, a woman's channel that said, this was right when I first started my channel. I made a video like, this video, I'm going to lose subscribers, or this could be the end of my channel. I think it was this could be the end of my channel, where I said there's a massive divide in the Bigfoot community, and that has not stopped. There is a huge divide on paranormal Bigfoot, alien Bigfoot, interdimensional Bigfoot, Bigfoot's primate, that it's ape. Bigfoot is part ape, part human. Bigfoot has human DNA, and they just split from the evolutionary chain tree and went off in a different direction. I definitely try to focus more on where are they, what do they leave behind, footprints, tree breaks. I know a lot of people don't like that. I understand it. And I always say my theory that it could be snow load. I'm really good about that on my channel about saying, oh, that's Bigfoot and this and that. So thank you for letting me take your ear on that subject. I want to split off into another subject, if I could, briefly. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. I have 3 things I want to talk about, and I'll try to make it brief. I know that your time is important to you. The first one is gifting. The second is wood knocks. And the third is whoops or vocalizations. As far as when I go out and I explore and I look for Sasquatch sign, things like this, that's something related to Bigfoot research, right? Hate that word, research. I research a lot, and I do it on the interwebs. I explore up here in New Hampshire, and these are 3 things that I never did before. I was kind of, I don't want to say against it, but I shied away from doing these things, from gifting, wood knocking, and vocalizing or whoops out in the woods where you whoop and you wait for a return. Same thing with a wood knock, you wait for a response. Gifting, you're also trying to interact somehow or some way with Sasquatch. So let's talk about the first one. Gifting, leaving items out. This is something, if you followed my channel, I've had it for a couple of years. I don't even know. I haven't looked how long I've had my channel. It's been a couple of years. Gifting is something I never did until recently, until I moved up here to the Northeast in New Hampshire. And I started using marbles. That have had mixed results with that because of where I'm gifting, close to foot trails, human hiking trails. So no matter what happens with my gifting with marbles, I can never be truly sure what's going on unless I see what's going on. I've also have a lot of comments that people say leave a game camera or a trail cam out pointing at the structure to see what's taking them. I want to say why I don't, and I've mentioned this before, but I still get the comments in my comment section. What happened to the trail cam idea? Why don't you leave a trail camera? Why don't you leave a trail camera? Why don't you leave a trail camera? So I'm going to say, again, I won't leave a trail camera in this area because I believe that it would be an insult to the Sasquatch in that area. And I do fully believe that there are Sasquatch right in this particular area where the tree structures or forest manipulations or teepees, whatever, I'm not sure what to call it. I call them teepees because they're shaped like a teepee, little structure. Definitely not for wind protection. It's not weather related. That's my opinion. I don't think it's to get out of the weather. That's, again, just my opinion. But I never did that before until I came up here. I had to try this marble experiment, and I really have learned zero. I've learned that possibly a lot of woodland creatures love little shiny marbles, and I think that could be what's taking them. I don't know. Again, I have other marbles that aren't 50 yards away that never get touched. I have some marbles up on a boulder that never, ever get touched. So it's just strange. But that's all I can say is that it's strange. I can't tell you what's taking them. I cannot think to myself, Bigfoot's doing it. It's Bigfoot. Bigfoot's taking my marbles. That's just not the way to approach this subject. You can't do that. So that's my opinion on gifting. Also, I kind of have that feeling that once you start, if I bring them in towards me with the gifting, what if I stop gifting? Is this going to turn bad? I don't know. I really don't know. But that's kind of where I'm at with the gifting thing. I've seen other channels where they gift off their back porch and stuff like that, and everything seems to be pretty cool with it. And I really can't say one way or the other whether I'm successful or not. All I can say is I'm missing a crap ton of marbles, and I don't know where they are. Either there's a squirrel nest somewhere full of marbles, or there's a raven's nest, or some bird's nest somewhere that has 14 marbles in it. I don't know really where these marbles are going. So I've learned zero on this gifting the marbles thing. So next would be wood knocks. So recently, let me back up. In my the infancy of my channel, and very early in my exploration days, looking for a sign of Sasquatch, I didn't do wood knocks, and I explained why. Because I don't know what I'm saying. I think wood knocks are used from one squatch to another Sasquatch in different areas, and it's kind of an echolocation type thing, like dolphins and whales do that kind of thing. I think probably wolves, coyotes, they'll do their vocalizations and stuff like that just to say, hey, I'm over here, or there's a communication to that. And again, my theory, nobody knows exactly what's going on with that as far as the wood knocks go. I have the theory that it's a locational thing. Also, it could be a beware type thing. Couple of wood knocks, that could mean, hey, listen, there's incoming people, humans incoming. But who knows? I have no idea. So I never tried this wood knocking because I'm not sure of what you're saying by knocking on a tree once, twice, 3 times. What are you conveying? What message are you conveying? Where it's their language. How do you know what you're saying? So I recently met I consider a friend of mine. His name's Gary. We'll leave it at that. And we hooked up recently. Great hiking partner, by the way. I'm very, very fortunate to have met this guy. He's not much of a talker, which is great. I love that because I'm not a huge conversationalist myself. As far as when I'm out in the forest, you want to sit down at the bar and have a few beers with me, I'll talk your ear off. But when we're out in the forest, it's nice to take in the forest. First of all, take Sasquatch right out of it. To be out in the forest and with nature and amongst nature is really what this is all about for me anyways. It is about getting closer to nature. I love the woods, love the forest. And so I went out, me and Gary met, I don't know, a while back, and we've been on a couple of hikes now. I'm very fortunate, again, to meet somebody compatible. That is not easy, especially when I have had no idea who this gentleman was. He didn't really know who I was, other than watching my videos. So it could have went horribly wrong. It ended up just being a really fortunate happenstance that we get along with each other and have really close views, or the same views as one another. And he had said, can I do a wood knock? And I said, you know what? Go for it. Try it. Now, I only myself have ever heard maybe 5 wood knocks. And some of them were suspect. Me and my son last year, I mean, by now it could have been 2 years ago. Everything's last year for me, but it could have been 2 years ago. We went on an awesome hike. We were tired, hot, sat down on a huge boulder up on a hill overlooking a bowl. And I had mentioned, hey, come on, give me a couple of good wood knocks. I said it out loud. And wouldn't you know it, from one direction came a wood knock, and then, I don't know, 100, 200 yards in the other direction, another wood knock, a return. That's one of the few times that I've heard a wood knock. A couple times in Massachusetts State Forest, back in my early days, I heard a couple of distant wood knocks. Could have been somebody chopping down a tree. I don't know. So fast forward to recently when Gary wanted to try a couple of wood knocks. I said, why not? Why not give it a shot? Because I'm not seeing any Sasquatch. And when me and Gary hike, we just take in what we're seeing, things that look out of place. The typical stuff that I talk about on my channel, things that don't look natural, but of course could be. Right? I always say that this could be natural, but boy, I'm telling you, when I investigate it and look at it, it looks pretty suspect. And so I gave the go-ahead. So I'm a little bit more open to the idea of wood knocking. But I still am of the belief, pardon me, having a couple of Budweisers, I'm still strongly in the belief that, what am I saying? Do you do one wood knock? Does that mean something different than 2 wood knocks? How about 3? Does that mean something different? But I'm willing at this point in my explorations to take the chance to try something different. You have to, and if I'm not open-minded to trying the wood knocks, then I'm not practicing what I preach, which is being open-minded to all. Right? You got to give it a try. Try it, at least. Be like fishing and saying, oh, there's no fish in that pond, let's go to the next one. Well, how do you know? You didn't even cast. So you got to at least try, right? All right, so that's that on the wood knocks. Okay. Let's get to whoops or vocalizations, right? When you're out there and you give a whoop and you wait for a reply. So admittedly, I tried this approach early in my exploration days when I first started my channel, and even before I started my channel when I first discovered what's going on around me. And never once had a reply. And I still, to this day, will once in a while, if I'm alone hiking by myself and I'm out fairly deep, I will try one loud yelp, right? I don't know what to think of that. I don't know whether that works. I've seen other channels where they might have gotten a reply. I won't mention the name, but I'll give the initials, Todd Standing, who will whoop, and then maybe there's a reply. And please don't even comment about Todd Standing on this video. I just brought his name up just because that's where I saw some of that practice. So you don't have to leave me a comment. Todd Standing's fake. Todd Standing's awesome. His videos are fake. Videos are real. I have my own opinion about Todd Standing. I've made it very clear on my channel. I always get comments the second I bring up his name. It is just this deluge of either negative or positive, and it's just, I always regret bringing his name up in my videos because he is so controversial. But that being said, vocalizing. I think, again, too, that falls in the category of wood knocks where I'm not sure what I'm saying. I could be saying, if you're hungry, come get me, right? I don't know what I'm saying. I could be flipping the middle finger to these beings in a vocal way. They could look at me and watch me do it or hear me do it and go, what the hell is this dope doing? What? I hope he doesn't think this is going to work, or maybe it does work for some. I really don't know. So obviously all 3 of these things, the wood knocks, the gifting, the whoops, I'm not against because I've tried them. I have. And I am not going to say I'm not going to try them again because I most likely will. It's something that when you're out for all day, say, especially recently where I've had nothing to do but hike for the past almost 3 months. I've been trying anything. Try anything at this point. Why not give it a shot, right? So I'm not against it, but I do want to bring up a little bonus topic, and I want to talk about something. I don't know if there's some researchers out there that you're in the field. I want to talk about growls, a low rumbled growl that seems really close, but there's nothing there. So this happened to me and Gary last week. Let's see, today. Yeah, so 8 days ago. Today is Saturday. God knows what the date is. I'm so messed up on the date. I almost don't even care. I'm not positive. Sorry. But it happened again to me. And now this has happened on, I'm going to say, more than a handful of occasions. I'll say 6, 7, 8 times I have heard a low grumble growl close to me, at least close enough for me to hear it and at times feel it a little bit. But I've heard it. The same thing with footfalls, foot stomps close to me, where I'm sure if I turn, I'm going to see something. If you're a researcher out in the field, or even if you're a hiker, a backpacker, a camper, I'd like to hear your experience. Just leave something in the comments and let me know. Have you heard that close, low growl? It's the strangest thing. Me and Gary were out again 8 days ago. It was 9 days ago now, and we were looking at imprints in the ground. They looked like prints, footprints, but they weren't defined in any way. But it was over a log in like some moss, and it was deep. It was 2 inches deep in the ground. I mean, I jumped up to try to leave an imprint like that, and I couldn't. And as we were bent down looking at these, we both heard a low guttural growl close. Now, I thought Gary burped, right? Let's just, be transparent here. And he said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Yeah, I definitely did. I thought it was you." I thought he had like burped and kind of held it in like that. He said, "Definitely not. Did you hear me?" He even looked up, turned around, and it came right from the direction that he said we felt it came from, and I felt from the same direction behind us. There's nothing around there to be seen, right? I didn't see anything, but I heard it. It was there. I've had close growls with me and my son Grady and my nephew Drew up here. Some time ago, I made a video. I don't remember, guys, and I'm not going to put it in the link below because I'm not going to take the time to search the video out. You'll have to just trust me on this one, that we heard a growl. We also heard whistling really close, like human whistles, really close from behind where we were hiking. My son was bringing up the rear. I was in the middle. My nephew was in the front. Kind of, we were all spread out about maybe 8 to 10 feet. And we heard a whistle clear as day. It happened again with me and my other nephew, Josh, hiking. We heard a whistle like someone calling for a dog. And we were in the middle of the woods, guys, right? And it was close. And we're looking. I was waiting to see a dog first, and then the owner of the dog, because the whistle was like, "Come here, boy." And I'm not going to whistle. Kind of like that, right? Just saying, "Come here." But it was so close, and we never saw a thing. Never saw a dog. I was sure we would round the bend, round the trail, and there would be a dog and its owner coming right at us. Anyways, the growl thing, that is something I've experienced back in 2017. I don't remember the dates. Early on in my video making days, I felt I was growled at on more than one occasion. Again, with the footfalls, I had that happen to me at Massacre State Park in Taunton, Massachusetts, where I was something stomped. I found a beat up old campsite. It was all kind of grown over. There was like a couple socks hanging over a stick, old food cans, an old beat up looking like a metal plate, and a tent that was torn to shreds. And I was investigating it by myself. I followed some stick breaks and a rock pile, and I just followed it up like a hill, and I discovered this campsite, and I heard distinct footsteps right really close, like a stomp, really close to me. Could have been a moose. Well, probably not in southern Massachusetts, but it could have been a big buck or a large deer, or really just something that didn't want me there. So I'd like to know of you guys that watch the video and you've had experience out in the wilderness. Leave a comment about the growls and the footfalls, that you can almost feel the weight in the ground. Okay, so I've rambled long enough. I really wanted to talk about the Paterson Gimlin film and about the whole story behind that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too, you guys. I'm not saying it doesn't matter what happened, because the truth should be told about what happened that day or that week or that month or whatever time span or whatever went on there. I think we deserve to know. I think the public deserves to know, especially with something as important as the discovery of a brand new species that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 feet tall and weighs up to 1,400 pounds, and we hike right next to it in the forest. I think we should know about it, that it's there. I think it'll come out in time, but let me know your thoughts on that, as well as the wood knocks, the vocalization, the whoops, the gifting. I know that a lot of people out there, a lot of researchers will gift and stuff like that, and I would very reluctant to gift food But that's a whole nother subject. I should have brought it up and I didn't. But anyways, thank you guys so much for clicking. I really do appreciate it. And I'll definitely see you guys on the next one.